All right, Coach Lenny, whenever you're ready to go, just let us know and we'll get started.
I'm ready. I
All
just
right.
sat down.
JJ, you start us off.
Hey Barry, how's it going?
Hey, good JJ, good to see you.
How would you say your guys have responded this week in practice?
They've had a good week. That's one thing that hasn't really flinched from the, hard to believe that we're in week 9. But they just haven't really flinched from the beginning when we first got together. Had a really good week, responded well. And that's the only thing you can do in this game. And that's the only thing you can do in life. When things aren't going very well, and they didn't go very well for us on Saturday, that's the only thing you can do is dig deep and go to work and develop toughness and display toughness and grit and determination. And they've done that this week.
What would you say the overall confidence level is with the offense right now?
Well, I feel like that it's still very solid. And we all know, starting with me and our staff and our players, we all know that we have not gotten the job done a few times during the year. And in particular, fresh off last week, that was a poor performance. Now, they also know when you come watch the film and see the game through a different lens, that even though the result wasn't what we wanted, not even close to what we wanted, that, man, we're just not very far off. And that's not coach speak. That's just the reality. And if I can help them tidy up some things and the play calls and, the schemes, and we can just execute a little bit better, there's just a razor thin line in football. In college football, in our conference, the margin of error is really small. And we were just on the wrong side of that margin last week. And it's our job to get that fixed. But I don't think their confidence has wavered because they see the film and they see how close we are. But we need to have some results pretty quickly.
Okay, Greg.
Barry, have you seen an uptick in the physicality of practices this week at all?
Well, yeah, I have. And the scout look has been increased. It was really good this week. Our scout team on our side of the ball did a phenomenal job of just straining our guys and making them play that extra tick and that extra second. That's all you can do is try to simulate the game the best you can in practice. It's very difficult. And so we stress that. We talk about it a lot. Our scouts and our guys that work with the scout team, the coaches that do that, they have a lot to do with that. And so, yes, very increased physicality, not anything that would be shockingly different than what we've done. But, man, when your back's up against the wall, like ours is right now, if you don't dig deep and you don't play more aggressive and more physical with more attention to detail, then something's wrong with you. And I'm confident our guys are going to do that this week.
Did you feel like you saw any signs in Saturday's game that you guys needed to practice more physically, or that was something that was missing?
No, I didn't at all. You turn the film on and you watch it, and our guys are straining. It's not a lack of physicality or a lack of a desire and want to. Our guys are still playing hard. We just got to play smarter, and we got to coach smarter. And that's really what it comes down to, and execute when the plays present themselves. We got to execute at a higher level. So it's not a complicated fix for us to jump back and take a step forward this week. It's not. But it also takes all those things that I just mentioned.
You have any concern about how your guys hold up to more physical practices at this point in the year with the kind of grind you guys have already been through? How do you navigate that?
Well, I think Jeff's done a really good job. I think Coach Traylor's done a good job of having a pulse of that and or keeping a pulse of that. And but the bottom line is it's a physical game, and our workload is on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays. It's a little bit less. And so our guys know we don't practice for an extraordinary amount of time. When we go fast, we go crisp. And so, I don't think that's been an issue at all.
Looking back at Frank Harris's game specifically, what did you see from him on the film?
Well, I thought he looked more like Frank. I think he competed well, made some plays. Like any game, I mean, at that position, you're going to have a few that you wish you could have back, whether it be a read or a throw or whatnot. That's football. There's nobody that's ever played a game at that position doing what we do or doing what modern day offenses do. There's probably some guy in the 50s or 60s in the wing tee that handed it off the whole game and probably thought he played a flawless game, But football's different. The ball's in the hand of the point guard the whole time, and he's got a lot of decisions to make during the course of the game. And so But I thought Frank, battled, he competed, and we just got to do better around him. And he's got to do better too. We all got to do better, starting with me. And, across the board, we got to strain better. We got to clean our assignments up better. We got to make plays when they present themselves. And that'll help Frank and as he continues to help himself.
What was the thing that was missing to try to connect on some more downfield passes? How could you guys have done better with that?
Well, I mean, it's just one time it was just a little bit of a hesitation. I mean, just a stride of disconnect. The next time it was just a little bit of an underthrow. I mean, the plays were just there to be made, and we just didn't make them. And so it's not something that you can just put a formula to fix. It's just we just got to execute better. The ball's got to be thrown just a little bit better. The protection's got to be just a little bit longer. The call, starting with me, and the call has got to do a better job of protecting the quarterback in particular situations. And so it's all encompassing. It's little bitty details. And that's what we continue to stress and believe. And it's true. If you watch the film, that's the truth of the situation.
Yeah, what was the challenge of protecting the quarterback better? What was missing from the offensive line to do that at a higher level?
Well, there was a couple of them that were on me, just quite frankly. And, they brought one more than we can handle and didn't have a great plan for that. They showed a couple of things that we hadn't necessarily seen. And so there was a couple of them where, it was just, an overload blitz that we didn't prepare for as well as we should have. A couple of times we just kind of got edged at the spot. There was a time where we set out to the wrong guy. And so it's kind of all encompassing again, but it starts with me. And if we can protect our quarterback, whoever they are, then, we've got guys that are open down the field, and we've got to be able to do that. It starts with protection of our quarterback this week. And that'll be a challenge again this week.
Frank mentioned some of his adjustments and hot reads he can make against blitzes. If he sees something coming that you guys might not be able to get blocked, does he have the freedom to adjust a route to get the ball quickly?
We're starting to give him. I'm sorry to cut you off, Greg. I'm terrible about that. My wife tells me that too. I start answering a question before the question's done. I'm working on that. Trust me, I am.
No worries.
Yeah. So we're trying and attempting this week to give him more freedom. It's been a challenge because we hadn't had a lot of time together. We were trying to install the offense and understand the basics of the offense. This is not an excuse, but as far as the timetable of where we are, you would think that the year two or going through the system with a little bit more experience, you would give the quarterback some more autonomy to do those things. And I haven't done a great job of that. A, we've had a rotation in there that's kind of been disrupted, and B, we're still learning, some of the things that we're trying to do. So, but we're to the point in the season, we got to be able to do that. Frank sees the game very well. He saw a lot of the stuff that was happening on Saturday and made us right a few times. And I anticipate him still having more and more as the weeks go by, him having more freedom to do that.
How did he respond to the decision to go to JoJo in the fourth quarter? He said you guys talked about it on the sideline.
We did. I think he handled it really well. And we made it very clear. And this was very clear watching the film. And we felt like this during the game. That our lack of production and the fact that we didn't score a point, our touchdown was not a direct result of the way Frank Harris played. I mean, it just wasn't. He competed. He made some plays. We could have easily, been at 17 points at halftime just with if we don't get the call, the holding call, and if we just connect on one of those throws, the whole dynamic of the game changes. Now we didn't do it, but just during the game, I felt like that that this wasn't on him, that I had a great hand in that, our lack of production. It was across the board. And so when we went to him to say, listen, hey, we're going to put JoJo in here. JoJo's been out for a few weeks. He's the quarterback. He's the backup quarterback right now. He needs some work. We're behind several scores. We're going to try to throw the ball here. And, you've done fine, but we're just going to change it up. I was really not proud of him, but I thought, he handled it the way you'd want to handle it. He knew we were telling him the truth, and he knew that even though he could have done some things differently, it wasn't just on him. It was all of us. And we were just giving JoJo a chance to knock some of the rust off.
Hey, JJ.
You're muted, JJ.
Barry, we saw Brendan Brady return this week. What does he bring to the offense?
Well, you're going to see more of him this week, JJ. We anticipated that happening last week. Made a phenomenal catch on that touchdown that got called back. I mean, phenomenal. He's a competitor, and that pretty much summarizes that one play. Summarizes who he is. I mean, he just competes, and he's not going to back down from anybody. He's got ability too. It's not just like he's just the guy that just is going to compete hard. I mean, this guy's a good running back, a good receiver, a good protector. He's tough. He represents everything good about what anybody would try to do in football. And so we need him to play more and to help take some of the load off Sincere, but not just to take load off Sincere. He's earned the right to play and deserves the right to carry the ball. And we'll see that happen on Saturday.
When a team stacks up against the run, like the way FAU did, what sort of things can you game plan to get around that?
Well, you got to figure out, you got to take the ball down the field, like we did on the outside lanes. And you got to use, some +1 runs, you would say, like quarterback runs and like some of the option stuff. So a lot of the stuff that you saw happen in the game, those are some of the right answers. And we know when you play the nation's leading rusher or a team that's, a run first or a heavier run team, which we're, statistically we're fairly balanced, but, people know that we've got a good back and our line's getting better and, that we're going to try to run the ball. You're going to see people that load the box. I mean, that's really pretty much everybody's philosophy on defense anyway, is we're going to stop the run. And then, from there, we're going to adjust the pass. And that's what we're going to continue to see. We just got to be balanced in what we call and what we execute and not be predictable. I can control that. And so there's no magic formula there. It's a lot of the same stuff that we've been doing. We just got to do it better.
Hey, Greg.
Was just that defensive philosophy the reason you couldn't be more productive running the ball in this game, or was there something else that didn't click to get the run game going the way it usually is?
Yeah. Well, I think you have to give them credit in a lot of ways from their scheme. We knew their scheme wasn't going to change. Their scheme was pretty simple as far as their normal down and distance. The third down stuff got a little bit more exotic, but they were fresh, and they had some guys back in that hadn't played the first 2 weeks. And they were fast, and so from a game plan standpoint, they didn't really do anything differently. They just maybe if you go back and watch that game, there were so many runs that we were just a tick away from breaking. I mean, just a shoestring tackle or a guy getting edged on his block lay. That's football, but we were. So I feel like schematically they didn't do anything that we didn't think they were going to do, and they were just a little bit maybe quicker and faster than what we had been playing, and we got edged a little bit in our blocks, and they were sure tacklers, and they tackled very well. So all those things combined to us being a little bit more bogged down. And we didn't run a lot of plays either. We didn't ever – when you don't get first downs, you're not generating, you're not getting a flow of offense. You got to get first downs to help, generate offense. I mean, I know that sounds so simple, but you got to get first down so you can use your playbook and you can get going and get in a rhythm. And we just never got in a rhythm.
What was the impact of the switch up front with Maka and Kevin Davis? How did that impact the group?
I thought they did a remarkable job considering, it was Thursday, Wednesday and Thursday till we realized that Maka, needed a break from that because of just, from a physical thing. And I thought both of them handled it great, and was impressed with the way they handled it. It wasn't perfect, but they did a good job.
Do you think with an extra week to work that way that the communication part and some of those things will be smoothed out a little bit more than they were on Saturday?
Yeah, I do. Those two guys, I mean, really, those spots are pretty interchangeable. And but for KD not playing center a whole lot in the last 2 years, getting in there and doing it, and we really had only about one snap issue the whole game. And I know Maka's, he's a pro, and they both have played a lot of football, and the communication is the same. They're just probably fighting over who gets to start with the ball in their hand a little bit. Those guys like having the ball in their hand, and I don't blame them.
And how about for Rice specifically? What are some of the things about their defense that jump out that you guys have to account for?
Scheme, that they're very physical. They tackle extremely well. Their scheme is super multiple. Very multiple, more multiple than anybody we played all year. And so it forces you into simplicity, which is a good thing for us. And but they present a lot of different back end coverages and fronts, and You can tell that that's one of their philosophies that they're going to do. They're going to create, I'm sure, with Coach Bloomgren being an offensive line background guy, he probably hates seeing a bunch of multiple fronts, and so their philosophy on defense is they're going to change the front structure, the coverage structure up. They're going to be very unpredictable with where they play, but they play with sound technique and fundamentals inside of that. So it creates a challenge for sure. So that's going to be a unique picture for us.
It was interesting you just said that simplicity could be good for you guys. A trailer mentioned that the other day. Is that something that you guys want to kind of get back to the basics or keep it easy for the players, or what do you mean?
Yeah, we continue to try to, put our guys in the best position to win and to continue to scale back our offense. Offensive guys always fight that. You got to try to fight boredom. And when a game doesn't go well, your initial instinct is we got to have more stuff, and sometimes less is more. No, that's not the saying there that I'm wanting to use. Sometimes less is better. Sometimes less is more. I don't know if that applies to this particular situation, but in some way, shape, or form, less offense could be more productive for us. It's not about plays. We got to think players more than we do plays. We're trying to emphasize that this week a little bit and continue to scale back the volume of the way we play offense.
All right. Thanks, Coach Lenny. We'll get a coach.
Okay, guys. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate it. See you.
You too.
Is this the right way, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. If you're ready, Coach Nix, we'll get started here.
Okay.
All right, JJ.
Hey, Coach, how's it going?
Well, good, JJ. How about you?
Oh, not too bad. Thanks for joining us today. What would you say the overall confidence level is with the team right now?
Overall, I don't really know. Coach Traylor would know that better than myself, but I can tell you defensively, we're excited and looking forward to another opportunity to go out and play and, play with more passion and more disciplined football.
What's the physicalness been like this week in practice?
It's been much the same. We have a culture, we have a process that we're doing, and it's part of the triangle of toughness where our schedule doesn't change an entire lot. It's based upon, the culture and the things that Coach has that he thinks is best for our team. All in all, certain plays change, but the intensity, the mindset, all of those things remain the same every week.
Okay, Greg.
Coach, did you feel like you needed to be a little bit more physical in practices this week or tackle a little bit more? That was something Jeff mentioned to us on Monday.
I don't know. I don't think we were lack of physicality. I think our kids didn't turn down any shots, but I think what we did, we were poor fundamentally. And we had more missed tackles than what we're used to. And that goes back to doing the little things right, being assignment, discipline, doing your job, and 11 hats getting to the ball. So all in all, we just emphasize more fundamentals. And of course, it's going to be a physical ball game, so our kids are well aware of that going into Saturday.
feels like we've checked in on this a few times through the year, but just the physical toll of playing week after week, how do you feel like your group is holding up at this point?
You know, I'm sure we're just like any other team across the country. We have some guys that fight up. You know, we would like to see them on the field performing, you know, especially with our defensive line. But, you know, with 2020 being the way that it is, there's so many things that's unpredictable, such as the COVID and all the other things that just adds to it. But all in all, we got enough to go out and compete, and we feel confident that those guys will go out and do it.
One of the other things Jeff mentioned to us this week is trying to make this a November to remember, he said. You know, how do you guys look at these last 4 games in terms of an opportunity or a chance to make a statement? Is that something you've seen from the players or that you feel yourself?
You know, my biggest thing is let's take advantage of each opportunity one at a time. And that's all we can do is win the day. And do the best that we can in this 24-hour segment, and then let tomorrow take care of itself. And if we do those things, if we put together and be the team that we would like to be in all 3 phases, then we feel like it can be some memories of a lifetime, as of course comes with victories in the process. We like to take it 1 week at a time.
So then along those lines, as you get ready for Rice, what jumps out about them or what are the biggest challenges you'll face this week?
Well, you know, first of all, they're well coached. They're fundamentally sound, and they're a team that doesn't beat themselves. They run the ball extremely well. They have tight ends that can catch the ball just as much as they can pass block, and they have a receiver that probably under the radar that some people say maybe one of the best in the country. So they're a well-balanced offense. They have a senior-driven offense at quarterback. He's a guy that's very experienced and understands the run game and what plays to get them in and get them out of. So our kids going to have to play really well, and that's what we expect to do. And, hopefully we can get into a dogfight and see what happens.
Did you feel good about the defensive performance against FAU overall, or how did you evaluate it when you looked back?
Oh, I thought it was average at best. I was very disappointed. Number 1 in our assignments, and number 2 fundamentally, I thought we did a poor job. And that all goes back to me. You know, I have to have the guys prepare better, and you know, I expect them to play better. They expect certain things out of me as well. So collectively, as a group, we were average at best, and hopefully we can fix a lot of things that went wrong last week.
I think this was the second game in a row that we saw a much stronger defensive performance in the second half compared to the first. Do you notice a difference in how your guys play one half versus the other?
Well, I think statistics speak for itself. I think, of course, the La Tech game is history now, but we played an outstanding second half, and our offense played a big part in that as well. And last week we played a much better second half than we did first. What we have to do is learn to you know, adapt, adjust a lot quicker. And that not only goes to the players, but that's to myself as well. And maybe we can get a better feel early in the game instead of waiting to the second half to make adjustments and things like that.
So is that along those lines more about sort of feeling out your opponent and what they're trying to do, or is that just like finding the intensity and the readiness to play within your own unit?
Well, I think each team does a good job of evaluating the strength and weaknesses of their team. They do the same thing to us defensively. You know, in this fast-paced offensive world and this all-spread offense, you're going to see a new wrinkle here and there every week. And, you know, if our kids at some point can handle all the adjustments, and there's no way to prepare for everything. You can educate them, you can put them in position, and this team may do it a little different this week than the week before, but we just have to apply our rules. And, you know, it goes back to fundamentals, putting our eyes in the right place, carrying out the assignments, and playing fundamentals football. And we can get on and off the field.
It was interesting to see last week that Tyler Monkey got the start at inside linebacker ahead of Jamal Ligon, and Coach Traylor was telling us that that was just based on competition through the week. What did you see from those two through practices last week that led to that decision?
Well, you know, I actually took last week's performance and the game against La Tech. I thought Jamal looked like a freshman a little bit in that game. He looked like a varsity guy from the day right to play. And I've said that before, and you earn the right to start. And I thought Tyler outperformed him in that ball game and throughout the previous week. So, you know, with that thing happened the way it did, it's competition. All I got is understand that in each position, it's competitive each week, and you know, best guy wins. But they both will play, and I expect the same thing this week.
Did you think Jamal responded to that pretty well? It seemed like he played at a high level once he got in the game against FAU.
You know, Jamal is a kid that plays with a tremendous motor regardless. He played at for a great high school coach and a good high school program. And he has a lot of character that came from his upbringing and the way he plays the game. He plays the game with a lot of passion. He plays the game with high intensity. He has a tremendous focus about the game on that time. So those things are very valuable to me, especially playing linebacker. He responded like he would anything else. He took it head on, didn't pout, didn't point fingers. He just said, "Coach, I'm ready. I'm ready to compete and get better." And that's what I've seen from him all week.
Okay, anything else for Coach Nix? All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. I'm beginning to get jealous.